Welcome back, everybody. I just would like to introduce you now to Nigel Fitzpatrick from TIBCO, who has a very interesting topic, which is turning customers into fans. Nigel.
Now, you are thinking, what is this idiot on the stage dressed like this for? Is it because I am a fan of this man? Yes, I am. I'm Scottish, so I should be. Or is it, I'm a fan of that guy? Yes, I like his music. He's great. But actually, none of those. I am a fan of your shared service center. Now, this is about how you turn your customers into fans. And that's what I'm supposed to look like. So, I'm going to cover a couple of things. And this is about how you turn customers into fans from process. Process, I know you think, how can people love process? But let me tell you, turning customers into fans starts and ends with process, and that's what we're going to cover. And we recently held a survey, and we surveyed 150 shared service directors about how well they treat their customers. The data is staggering. But then I'm going to talk about how we actually do this. Okay, so this survey is very detailed. Very, very detailed. So I'm going to cover a couple of bits. If you want the whole survey, come to our stand. You'll see the hands and the wigs and probably only me looking like this as a face paint. But I'm going to cover a couple of slides because the key ones. Before I do that, I'm sorry, SSOWeek, I'm doing a bit of a plug. If you are in London on June 13th, come to our event, Transform. We have loads of speakers talking about how they use TIBCO Nimbus to turn their customers into fans. If you're in Paris on the 11th of June, come to that. If you want us to register you, come to our booth, give us your card, we'll register you. Okay, so that's a little bit of a plug. Okay, the results of the survey. This is great news. Over 100 shared service directors, 80% said that customer satisfaction is in the top 3 priorities over the next 3 years. Great news. Fabulous. 3% rate themselves as doing actually a good job. And I think that 3% is actually 3% too high. I'll tell you why in a minute. But let's look at the key winners of that 80%. 43% said improving customer satisfaction was the top priority. The second priority was further standardization of process. They go hand in hand, really, those two things. Don't you think? But something staggers me. That actually, when you look at it, I know you can't read this probably, but this is the next bit drove me insane. 80% of you and us said that, I'm sorry about this hand, but 80% said that we are really thinking about customer satisfaction. That's a people business, right? A people business. Happy customers means good people. 3% said that people talent management was important. Hold on a second. You all think that customer satisfaction is so important, but how come your people aren't important? How can the delta be so big? I don't get it. So this posed a really important question in my mind. But actually, what are you measuring in terms of customer satisfaction? I think I've got the answer. So again, the survey goes on, and 63% said they rated themselves as good. And then I went to Chicago about a month ago. Staggered. I said, is that true? Yeah. Okay, hands up. all of you in this room, this was Chicago, don't worry, you're not doing it here, know the results of your customer satisfaction survey. Not one person knew the result of their survey. So what's that coming from then? Is that subjective? Probably. I actually think it's probably, more of it's probably over to the fair side, is my belief. So, too much detail on here. I just want to cover a couple of things for you. Again, come to our booth, give us your card, we'll give you the survey. You look at the problems, what's driving unhappy people in your shared service center, not the people doing the work, the people you serve, your fans, potential fans, your current customers, and you're all going to turn them into fans and look like this. The big ones is complexity. Too much process. Can't find the right process. Too much variation of process. I don't understand whether this process is right for me or not. I don't even know if it's up to date. I don't even know who the owner is. So too much complexity. And the other stuff's quite obvious. Forcing compliance and things like that, that's fine, you expect that. The things that I found most interesting is over here. Shared services staff lack knowledge or empathy with their customer. Staggering. The other one is shared service staff are inflexible or lack commercial acumen. I can't see how you can blame the staff for that. Or whether they're empathetic or not. Thank you. I have a fan. I knew I shouldn't be drinking last night. Okay. So, key problems. Most of them are process-driven. Or lack of good process management is a core underlying issue that your customers cannot come into fans. And this was a staggering one again. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on all this data because we can give it to you, but 58% of the audience that we surveyed don't have a real-time view of KPIs of how well they're performing their services to their customers. I think only 14% had a view of what it was, but didn't do much with it when they actually had the data. So what's the point? And actually, we asked a bigger question, and I heard some great conversations earlier going on around, how do you know if you've got a happy customer? Well, we do surveys. Okay. You've got 70,000 staff that you're servicing from your shared service center. Is that 70,000 surveys you do? No. We do about 10. And we'll do it twice a year. That's not really what you want to do. You want to measure at the point of transaction. You want real fan base. That's what you want. So, the 7 steps that came out of this, and this is going to be obvious, okay, so I apologize up front. But what came out from the survey, not from our input at all, there were 7 key steps to convert lukewarm customers into your fans. Feedback. Feedback, feedback, feedback. Absolutely critical. That's what the survey said would help the shared service directors have a better way to communicate, better way to get the information back and do something with it. Strong communications. These are obvious things, but so often go unlooked. Timely support. It was staggering. I was in America a couple of weeks ago or a month ago. I was having a conversation with a shared service center who was servicing 70,000 employees. It was HR. And 30,000 of their employees were in trucks. So I said, what happens when someone calls into the shared service center and the guy wakes up, his wife knocks him on the shoulder and says, hey, we haven't been paid this week. What's happened? Hey, Charlie, go and sort it out. Oh, yeah, I changed my bank details. Yeah, I did it. He didn't, but yeah, I did it. You know what we tell our wives? Yeah, I did it. So he goes into shares, he calls the shared service. I said, stop. He's in his truck, yeah? Yeah, he's in his truck. He calls into the shared service center. Then what do you do? Well, we take care of the transaction. We do it for him. I said, stop. He's driving a truck. Do you not tell him to pull over? Do you not tell him to stop and do this later? Simple things like that were being completely missed because the process didn't say that. The process didn't say we should actually thinking about the person who's actually asking the question. Staggering. Ownership. This is, I think, is fundamental. Can I have a show of hands of any process owners in the room that you are responsible for customer satisfaction? 1. Any more? 2. I think this is critical. I think this is a real trend that's beginning to show in shared services. If you own the process, you've got to own the performance of it. You've got to make sure that people are happy using your process. Otherwise, how do you know it's working? Simplification, this is obvious, right? Get rid of all the complexity. And I think we have an answer for you to get rid of all the complexity. And there's a video at the end of a customer who's turned all their customers into fans. So I'm going to wait pretty much on that one till the end. Change management, governance is critical. When you look at the survey, you'll see that 3% of the audience of the survey actually thought governance was important. 3%. I know why it's so low. I know why it's so low, but it's staggering that it's only 3%. And finally, you've got to develop talent. Talent management is critical. Happy people comes from happy service delivery. Okay. So I think this is what you need to do. If you have customers, you are focused on your SLA. You are very transactionally thinking, and there's nothing wrong with it. Your KPIs and your measurements are all coming from your ERP system or the transactions you're providing. And when you think only in SLA terms, you have passive, price-sensitive, unmotivated customers. They call in and all they expect is the transaction to be performed. Great. That's what you started to do. But I think the whole market is changing. In fact, this is the reason why we did the survey was because we felt people were no longer thinking about cost, but thinking about people. So there's an inflection point that we all are a part of. And this is moving your customers to fans. And when you have fans, you have the OLA, the operating level agreement, the relationship, the contract with your customers that says, this is how well we'll perform to your customers. Not the transaction on its own, but how well you perform that transaction. You then have passionate, motivated advocates. You have fans. So what you need to do is have solar power. You need to have your service level agreements in mind all the time, and you need your operating level agreements combined to your SLA. And when you have solar power, only then can you actually begin to turn your customers into fans. I thought this is a bit of fun for you. This is the car park of one of the world's biggest car manufacturers in Germany. 3 letters, and there's an M in it. And this was taken about 2 months ago. The process says, when you drive up to the barrier, put your card in, and the barrier will open. That's what the process says. But I'm a supplier. I haven't got a card. I'm a new employee. I haven't been given a card yet. I'm a customer turning up to do some business. The process says that's what you must do. So you need to start thinking about how do you manage all these exceptions to the rules. I thought it was a bit of a laugh for you. Okay. So how do you turn customers into fans? Now, I'm going to skip by this because this is, you'd expect me to say this. I'm a salesperson, so you expect that all these benefits will come out of it. Harmonization, rationalization, all that kind of stuff. Improve process maturity, take you up the curve, the value chain, all that kind of stuff. I want to go through this quite quickly. And these are challenges that most of our customers come to us, these are the problems they come to us with. And they're typical. And I know why they're typical. And this is something we all have to stop doing. And I think that this is how process management or how you do process work in your business looks like. How many people in the room, when they go to a workshop, do that stuff? Brown paper, post-it notes. Come on, we all know it goes on, right? Open my eyes and stick pins in them. This has got to stop. You get engagement when you're in the room. It's nice, all these lean consultants coming in and say, fantastic, great. Come and put this post-it note over here. And it falls off and you've lost it forever. But that's what goes on. And then you translate this lovely piece of workshop material into that. But hold on a second, weren't we creating process for people to follow? And you give them that? You think that's why people don't engage with process? I think, perhaps. And then you convert, consultants in the room, I know, I apologize up front. I don't really. But this is what goes on. They convert that lovely document into this. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Customer, thank you very much. Listen, I didn't have time to do a global find and replace and change the last company's name for this document. But don't worry, give me 5 million quid, but here's the document, right? That goes on, doesn't it not? Yes, it goes on. And then you want to deploy. Process deployment. This is what you get. Very, very disgruntled, unhappy customers. People are angry that they can't find information. They're quite pissed off all the time. If we just looked at ourselves right now and said, how easy is it for us in this room to go back and search for a document in our intranet? Is it easy? No. Well, that's what your customers are doing all the time, looking for the process information that you are serving up to them. Continuous improvement. Fabulous. So you've got all this going on, and basically what happens is you have people quitting, right? There's no engagement. There's no happiness inside the shared service center or the customers you're serving. We have to change. So what you have to do is create a 21st century process-enabled shared service enterprise. That's what you need to do. And there are 5 key steps. Now, this is Nimbus. It's bound to be me, right? But this is how you create it. And we have loads of customers joining us every single month as new customers doing this. And there are 5 key steps. Non-sequential apart from the first one. I know it doesn't sound right, but that's what it is. The very first stage, you've got to create your business process architecture. And process is not just your automated activities. It is not just your transactions. If you think that process is only about transactions or those automated activities, you are not taking into account the customer experience. The experience. All you are doing is managing your transactional flows. You're missing the big problem. 80% of what people do is actually manual. They pick up the phone, they follow a script, they do stuff as manual. That's what people actually do. They actually only hit a system now and again. But all your risk is in the 80% of what people do. All of your traditional investment has been from IT, the ERP world, saying this is what process is, this is what process. You've got to get out of that mindset. You have to have all of your end-to-end, top-to-bottom processes captured. Governed, highly governed. Change management built into it. Feedback built into it. Then you've got to convert that the architecture into knowledge. That's what you've got to do. You've got to give people the ability to, if you have a customer that's calling in or looking at a process, the activities have to be exactly the same as the shared service center, no matter where they're looking from. We have a mobile app, we have an iPhone app for process. We've turned process into sexy stuff, right? We have process mobility. Same information has got to be done. You then have got to measure, analyze everything against process. If you do not put analytics into process, there's no point doing it. This whole big data thing yesterday I can't remember who said it. The big data is going to be billions spent, but a lot of waste. That waste is because you're not linking it to process. Process is everything in your business. It's that 1 or 2% advantage that you get. You've got to measure against process. Manage what you measure and measure what you manage. The fourth component, you've got to make process accessible to everybody. Process mobility, govern process mobility. Even if you have variations to different countries, you've got to make sure you have it accessible to everybody. And the final thing is business process collaboration. This is the social media piece. Now, to me, social media is interesting. It's waffle. It's the stuff that people don't really engage with. But it's amazing what happens when you link social media to process. All of a sudden it becomes important. Because it's subject-driven. And your staff in the shared service center have such a freedom to collaborate, to get artists from anywhere around the world. I'm sure how much time I've got. I'll just keep on going. So this is what Nimbus provide. Come to our booth. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I want to play the video at the end. But come to our booth, have a look. This is how complicated our process gets. It's simple. There's one shape, there's a box. You can actually see all this nice kind of pictures in it, and you can see that who the process stakeholders are. A lot more to it than just this, of course. But this is the architecture. This is where you start. And then you turn it into knowledge. That same process is converted into something that's graphical and nice. Yeah? And all the information is delivered to everybody. They don't have to search for it. It's just there. Then the next thing you need to do, again, this is the SOP. Automatically, you've got your business process architecture. You create electronic SOPs. Automatically. So what are the 4 or 5 things I need to do? Then you analyze everything. Yeah, for KPIs. Everyone should be looking at their own dashboards. Okay, so this is analytics for shared services, which we have. Okay, very, very powerful. Linking in the SLA, linking in the OLA, linking in everything. Getting process recommendation improvements from the data that's being served up. And then you've got process mobility. Tablets, iPhones, cloud, it doesn't matter. Make it available everywhere. And then you've got social media. This is very, very key. Okay, so that's how you turn customers into fans. I've got lots of examples of how customers have turned them into fans. I don't think I've got time, because I need to play a video. So I'm just going to scroll through it. But come to our stand and we can take you through it. Some real big customers who've made some dramatic improvements. One of which, this is the guide dogs. We've got talking dogs. Oh, that's a bit funny. There you go. But we have one customer, Sony. This is a fantastic case study. They consolidated 46 legal entities into one in Europe, and they outsourced their finance operations at the same time, and were told they had 18 months to do it. With a key objective, you must maintain high levels of customer service. Oh, that's a problem. We went live in 12 months and saved them over 30% of their finance costs. Huge success story. So you want to learn about that and then come to us. Actually, they call process the law. Process sits above the ERP system. No longer do you change or make requests to change your ERP system. You have to change the end-to-end process first. Process is the law. Colt Telecom, huge improvement, 70% increase in efficiency to their customers. Huge, huge value chains. Carphone Warehouse, this is a fantastic story. They were in a real poo before they started this, right? The real entrepreneurial spirit. Really terrible. 9 months, they increased their net promoter score by over 50%. At the same time, they increased their internal employee feedback by over 60%, just by having one process standard. And that standard wasn't very good, but had one standard. And they won a massive award, and they just happened to increase their revenue by 80 million in 4 months. So it paid itself pretty quick. Yeah. These are the kind of buy benefits you get. BA Systems. Now, this is one of my favorites, okay? I'm going to end on this, because this really talks to how this company has totally thought about the customer from the very beginning by building the business process architecture. Okay? They call their Nimbus, they call it how-to. Okay, so when they talk about how-to, that's what they branded their deployment of Nimbus. So this goes on for about 4 or 5 minutes. Oh, sorry.
Shared Services is a business unit within BAE Systems. We offer services ranging from real estate through technology, IT and procurement. Finance Services provides a number of financial processing activities within BAE Systems in the UK. The objectives of the finance programme was around taking this capability that existed within the company and looking at how we could use that capability to best effect.
The Finance Transformation Programme started a couple of years ago where we brought 3 organisations together, and the reason we're doing that is first of all to reduce cost to the business in these economic times. Everybody's looking for efficiencies. Secondly, while we're doing that, we need to maintain and improve financial control. The customers really need to be able to trust us with their finance processes. They were compliant with the operational framework and policies in BAE Systems. And finally, we're looking for ways to continually improve the way we deliver these services.
I'm the purchase to pay manager here at the Finance Shared Service in Preston. In there, I'm in charge of accounts payable, expenses and the time and attendance and job booking system open options as well. Transformation is vitally important to BAE Systems at the minute. I mean, as it's been seen in the press, it faces a lot of forces, you know, a lot of downsizing and the need to be efficient in all aspects of BAE Systems work is essential, and that means back office financial processing as well. Process management matters in transformation because here we're bringing multiple sites to one location. So we have to ensure that we end up with a single process, a single methodology, and we have to be able to translate the methodologies people are using at the other sites into one single consistent format. Previously, all process documentation was done in Word or Excel. They were very unuser-friendly in order to update, so people just didn't like updating them, so we're forever having to force them to be updated. So culturally there was a problem.
When I first started my new role, one of my tasks was to look at the process documentation around the 3 various locations within Finance Services. I found that we had different formats, different layouts, different names even for the documentation. People were reluctant to get involved with process documentation, and governance just became one of those tasks that nobody really wanted to do.
There were multiple versions of the same document knocking around. Although you had version control, it was very difficult to keep version control. With Nimbus, that issue simply goes away because you have one master user and the version control is set and you just can't get away from it. To bring how-to into BAE Systems has been extremely easy. It's actually been one of the easiest implementation projects I've seen for a while. It seems to be very intuitive. People have picked it up very simply. The transformation went much smoother because we had documented all the processes we need. We could trust it. We'd sorted out any language barriers for when it moved into Preston, and it just made the whole transformation a lot smoother.
I was involved with process mapping with Ed from Nimbus, who was fantastic. Showed us how to use the tool, showed us all the different tricks with it.
The beauty of this system, I think, is the fact that it's very, very straightforward to follow. It's abbreviated, simple wording all the way through that anybody can pick up and understand. And I really like the uniform approach.
Moving to how-to, it meant we had to clear out and wash through all the different terminologies and different language barriers that we had and actually come to a single language that we understood around the processes that we were documenting. It is much simpler to keep up to date with the processes. I mean, fundamentally, they're all up to date now and it's much easier for people to stay on top of it. With the how-to tool as well, you can clearly demonstrate to your customer that you are keeping on top of things and you have the financial controls in place.
The controls are now actually mapped into the finance processes themselves. So all processes are now documented and also all the controls are referenced into them. So that helps us to give assurance to the internal audit, external audit and our customers that we are compliant with the finance policy manual. What we have now is we have a tool that everybody can use really, really easily, and they're updated all the time by the people who are actually using them. And then also you're compliant straight away with any audits that may come along.
What I'm pleased to be able to say is our audit reports have confirmed that the control environment is still very strong at the end of the year.
The process diagram's linked to many things for us and actually pulls everything together. So it links to the work instructions, it links to the forms people can print off, it allows you to do storyboards for the customer at the opposite end. So whereas the people in here are looking at how they process an expense claim, it actually shows the customer what they need to do to complete their expense claim. So it really ensures you've got the same process for both the front end user and the back office themselves. So we've documented all the processes, all the work instructions there. We're now putting in the task lists and people actually signing off the tasks within How To. So that's all being documented and kept on top of within the How To tool as well. Task list is one of the basics within this business because it is what we sell to our businesses. It is basically what they have to do at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock throughout the day. And we sell financial services and that ensures that the service that the customer is paying for is actually being done and is being adhered to.
Previously they had a long A3 sheet that Lee used to go around on a daily basis asking the team whether or not they'd done what they should have done. It was hard to prove that each member of the team had done, whereas now they just go in, tick a box, enter the password and it's recorded and we can produce stats to show what's been done and what's not been done.
Service excellence to me means us delivering the customer the service that they want every day regardless of the adversity we actually face here in whether it be new members of staff leaving, turnover, so on and so forth. How To provides a framework for that service to stay at a set standard because it has the task lists in it, it has the work instructions, it has the processes. It then links through to the customer themselves as to what process they need to follow in order to access our service. When people go in on How To now, it does have a button where you can suggest improvements. That does mean it gets everyone involved in the process improvement process and allows anyone to pass comments and suggest improvements, whereas before it was very fragmented and it was never done to that level. The three key benefits for How To for me are it's a single repository of all the knowledge of the service I provide that's transparent to all levels, both the staff who work here in the back office and the customer at the front end. That's the number one benefit for me. The second key benefit for me is, bizarrely, as a translation tool. As I said, you wouldn't think that 3-4 locations in the UK all speak a different language. Well, whilst they all speak English, they all do talk in different terminology. And the third way for me is it is a platform for further change. It does allow us to say, right, well, we've got it all together, we now all talk the same language, right, how are we going to take this forward? The key to success has been the simplicity of the tool.
It's becoming part of everyday life.
Instead of me having to produce a physical task list each week and then check it daily, it's all automated via the How To system.
The speed that you can capture a process in quite a lot of detail.
Everyone is aware of what they are doing, when they are doing it and when they should be doing it.
How To will help people get it right first time.
We can prove we are doing what we say we do.
It's much easier to use. It makes my life a lot easier.
When you look at what's been achieved, we've documented 280 processes, over 300 work instructions, spanning 6 different ERP systems, and it's all been done within a few months. It has been a fantastic piece of work, and the speed that it's been done at has been phenomenal.
The people involved in this programme should be really proud of their achievements. People have really embraced the concept of wanting to provide better service for their customers and wanting to ensure that that service is really under really good financial control and is dealt with in an efficient way as well. And I've been really impressed with the way people have embraced that change.
Quite a great story. To do all that in 6 or 7 months. And they've just grown and grown and grown. That was done 2 years ago. And now that Finance Shared Services Centre is now taking on HR, is taking on IT, is taking on everything. Because the value they've demonstrated. So can we all promise that we're all going to treat our customers, turn our customers into fans, yeah? That's what we're going to do? Turn our customers into fans. And as a gift, because I want you to become fans too of Nimbus, if you would like, I will give you a free Turning Customers into Fans process workshop. If you'd like to understand how customers like that have done that, come and talk to us. Okay? Thank you very much.